ॐ तच्छंयोरावृणीमहे गातुं यज्ञाय गातुं यज्ञपतये दैवी स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जिगातु भेषजम् तन्नो अस्तु द्विपदे चतुष्पदे ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. We have seen three verses so far of this beautiful text known as Atma Bodha. The first verse said, those of us in whom worldly attachments have gone down, whose minds have been purified thanks to certain austerities, or in more plain terms, right living. When we live rightly, the mind becomes purer. With a pure mind, we will be able to live rightly even more. Right living and a pure mind mutually support each other. We live a life of compromise, our mind gets more muddied, and that muddied mind, the impure mind, makes us go for more compromises in life. A life of contradictions is the fertile ground for negative thoughts and emotions. It's a vicious circle. Somewhere we got to break them. Somewhere, no matter how wrongly we have lived so far, we must take a deep breath and say, next 1 hour, next half an hour, I am not going to do anything foolish, silly, wrong, about which I will regret later. So little by little, we straighten ourselves up, then right conduct makes our mind also pure. The second and third verses plunged into the central topic of self-knowledge of Upanishads, saying, unless you have right seeing, you will never be liberated. Just as unless there is fire, visible fire, like in ordinary stoves or ovens, or invisible principle of heat in microwave machines and so on, whatever, there has to be heat. Without fire, cooking is not over. Likewise, without jnana, without wisdom, without knowledge, without right seeing, liberation is ruled out. And the third shloka also gave an example how any amount of karma, karma means action, any amount of action cannot eliminate spiritual ignorance because karma is not opposed to ignorance. If there is darkness, any amount of movement, any amount of moving swords or moving broomsticks, bring anything, bring those bulldozers, bring those earth movers. You can't take away or remove darkness. Bring a simple candle, a candle that is lit, darkness goes. Likewise, the third shloka said, bring right perception. The Upanishads are meant to bless us with right perception. With this quick summary of the three verses that we already saw, we now enter to the fourth shloka in this class, class number 3. Parichinna iva ajnanat tannashe sati kevalaha. स्वयं प्रकाशते हि आत्मा मेघ अपाये अंशुमानिव. For your convenience, I read the verses, splitting the sandhi a little. Parichinnaha iva. Iva means as though. The sun as though seems to rise in the east. Today everybody knows the basic physics. It's not the sun who moves in the sky, though it seems to do so. It's the earth which rotates around its axis. Iva means as though. When you stand before a concave mirror, you look very much more obese. You look obese as though you are not. You don't stand before a concave mirror or a convex mirror and so on. Stand before a proper mirror with plain surface. Then you see yourself as you are. Likewise, with the help of competent teachers, see this world, see yourself in the mirror of Upanishads. Upanishads will show you who you really are. Ajnanat. Parichinnaha iva ajnanat. Out of ignorance. Essentially, ignorance consists in erroneous perception, wrong seeing. In wrong seeing, you feel you are parichinna, means very limited. Even if you are 7 feet tall, quite well built, even if you have millions of dollars in your bank balance, all that is limited only. Nobody has infinite height or weight or wealth or talent or infinity is not ours. Vedanta says not quite true. Infinity is yours when you let go of identification with the body and mind. You get identified. Swami Chinmayananda would add one more word: body, mind, and intellect. BMI. Because body, the physical body, mind, the emotional mind, intellect, the thinking, the reasoning aspect of your within. BMI. He once teased some audience. You get unduly attached to BMI, body, mind, and intellect, and as though not enough, possessing a BMW car, you get attached to BMW also. Two layers of attachment. BMI, BMW, and what more, all relations. It's a psychological problem. Vedanta operates on your psychology and eliminates certain long-standing errors in your thinking. Parichinnaha, you look limited or you seem to be limited. Ajnana. Parichinnaha iva ajnana tat nashe. When that ajnana, when that spiritual ignorance is destroyed, Upanishads are essentially meant for destruction of ignorance. Shankaracharya, in his very famous classic introduction to Brahma Sutras, that portion is called Adhyasa Bhashya. There he uses an expression, Tasya Anarthasya Prahanaya. Prahana. Hana means eliminating. Prahana means eliminated or it never for it to never come back. Prahana. अस्यानर्थस्य प्रहाणाय सर्वाः उपनिषदः सर्वे वेदान्ताः प्रवर्तन्ते. All Vedantas have one goal: to eliminate a long-standing fundamental error in your seeing things inside or outside. Atma Bodha in this way presents before us in very simple language what is otherwise discussed in lofty works like Brahma Sutra Bhashya. Most people don't go anywhere near that. It is supposed to be an advanced text. So what is discussed in very complicated philosophical terms is placed before you by this Atma Bodha in a very simple language. Tannashe, when spiritual ignorance, when erroneous perception is brought to an end, Kevalaha Atma. The last word of the first half, Kevalaha, and a word in the middle of the second half, Atma, come together. That pure self, which is without any division, without any distinction, high or low, big or small, white or blue, Kevala. Some of you have studied many Vedanta works and you know the definition of Kevala. Swajatiya, Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata Bheda Rahitaha. Three of distinctions, either with in this online class on Atma Bodha, here and there we will go into certain technical definitions. My technical definitions in Atma class is especially to show that Atma Bodha actually touches upon complex and advanced philosophical notions, concepts that come in great works. So don't look at Atma Bodha as too elementary. It is elementary for people who are of advanced texts, including Upanishads. Please know that Atma Bodha is not to be undervalued. So, Swajatiya or Sajatiya, I should say, Samana Jatiya. A cow is different from another cow because of some features. A cow is different from an elephant or from a table. That's also a kind of difference. Vijatiya Bhed. And a cow has differences within itself. The cow's face is not the same as the cow's leg and so on. So, three kinds of differences, three kinds of distinctions, broadly speaking, are talked about, and absence of those distinctions is what makes it the truth, kevala, pure, the, the pure self, kevala atma. Now, the main illustration that comes in this shloka is the atma becomes evident without having to come into picture newly. Atma doesn't come into the picture newly. Atma has been. We have been the Atma. But this erroneous thinking made us feel we don't know Atma. We are the Atma, we are experiencing the Atma, but there's so much of other noise. Just as when the clouds are in the sky, you say, I don't see the sun. If there were no sun in the sky, you would not see even the clouds. The fact that you see the clouds is because there is the sun. However, for a clear, unobstructed, vision of, of the sun, the clouds have to move away. When the clouds move away, we see the sun clearly. Then there is the fifth verse, which also we saw last time. Ajnana kalusham jivam jnanabhyasad vinirmalam krutva jnanam swayam nashyet jalam katakarenuvat. I'm not sure whether we did these verses in the webinar, or in the last class itself. Anyhow, I will explain these two, then go to 6 and 7. There's a wonderful example here. So we had a webinar in between, apart from these classes. So another wonderful illustration. In olden days, suppose there is a big tank filled with water, but it has a lot of dust and other extraneous particles floating in this water. They would take some powder of certain seeds and sprinkle all over the top surface of the water in a tank. This powder of the Kathaka seeds, Kathaka name of a certain plant, the powder forms a membrane and the membrane slowly goes down, collecting all the dust and the water is left clean, good to drink, fit to drink, potable. Giving that example, Jalam Kathakarenuvat, Sri Shankaracharya, presuming he is the author here, that is the wide popular belief, says Vedanta study gives to us the study of Atmabodha itself, study of Upanishad, study of Bhagavad Gita, which is also a Vedanta work. First, it seems that you are already confused, but you are putting more ideas and concepts, and your mind will get more confused. You may think like that. Shankaracharya dismisses that possibility. He says, Jnanabhyasa, regular study, reflecting on it, doesn't add to your confusion, but those revelations, even the concepts, do not remain concepts. Slowly you get insights, and the concepts have done their job. They go away. The jiva, the individual self, is ajnana pollution. The jiva has the impurity called ignorance, and it is made nirmala, pure. So friends, however busy you and I are, no matter what our activities, engagements are, even 10 to 15 minutes, we must refresh our understanding of the Vedanta. Even your worldly responsibilities can then be handled by. Many people just do not do prayers, do not study Vedanta, do not do yoga, pranayama. They do not do three or four things which have to be done every day. But they say, today I am so busy. You know what happens? Suppose you have 8 hours of some work to be done. If you have not done your yogasana, if you have not studied a little Vedanta, if you have not done some prayers, quite possibly the work that needs 8 hours will linger on for 9 to 10 hours. Whereas if you have done your spiritual practice, preferably in the morning, then with a mind which has been inspired, which has been given a higher direction, you will do that work which typically takes 8 hours in 6 or 7 hours. So if you do sadhana, I'm not asking you to do hours and hours of meditation or study. That may be hard. But essential sadhana, 10 minutes of yoga, 5 minutes of pranayama, 15 minutes of reading just the Upanishad mantras and their translations, or Gita for that. All put together half an hour. You will find you are already 2 inches above the ground. And rather than your mind getting more burdened by all this philosophy, of course, the role of a competent teacher comes into the picture here. It is competent teachers who help you see the essential and let go of non-essentials. It is said, Vedanta study makes you pure and gives you the wisdom, and all burdens are gone. The Kathaka Renu, the dust or the powder of the Kathaka seeds, cleans up the water. It doesn't add to the impurities in the water. We go to the sixth shloka now. No Vedanta discourse is complete without bringing the analogy of dream. Shloka goes, I trust all of you have a soft copy. Some of you may have a hard copy also, printed book. Please write to our email ID or WhatsApp number if you need soft or hard copies. The sixth shloka goes, Samsaraha swapnatulyo hi ragadveshadi sankulaha स्वकाले सत्यवद भाति प्रबोधे सति असद्भवेत्. Simple. Even the meter, poetic meter of Atma Bodha is the most common, most popular, easiest to compose also for many of us. The meter is called Anushtup. Bhagavad Gita, more than 600 verses are in Anushtup. The first verse, Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetra Samaveta Yutsavaha Mamaka Pandavashaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya Anushtup meter. Last verse, 18.78. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partho Dhanuddharaha Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama Anushtup. But in between there are some Trishtup, 11 syllables in a pada or a quarter. Here also the last shloka is in Trishtup. Viddeshakaladyanapekshya sarvagam Shitadidhan nitya sukham niranjanam. We'll see it when it comes there. But the Anushtup is so simple. The shloka says, Sansara, our worldly life, living in this world, being somebody, wanting to become something, crying over our failures, jubilant over our success. Life goes on, this worldly life of tears of joy a few times and more often tears of sorrow. This samsara is worldly life. Swapna tulyaha, comparable. Tulya means comparable. Swapnena tulyaha, ayam sansaraha, ragadveshadi sankulaha. It is full of raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes. We don't realize many times. We think it's the world which is causing us stress, causing suffering. Actually, 90% of our sorrow, if not 100, is because we have lot of strong opinions. We are opinionated. We are prejudiced for and against. We are not free from bias. We have strong attachments and aversions. Somebody comes to us, we are so happy seeing her coming even from a distance. Ah, she is coming. In another 2 minutes, another lady comes. Why is this lady coming here? Why is that man again coming? Yesterday he had come. Why is this other person again joining this meeting somewhere, get together? Was he not there last Saturday? Why is he here again? Sometimes we grind our teeth looking at somebody. We don't even say, why is this man or why is this woman coming here? We say, how come this element is here today also? Paul is calling element for a thing sometimes. This thing is here again. He is not a thing, but you don't like him so much, therefore you call him a thing. So, ragadvesha. Now, India is going through elections and there is a Mahabharata war going. Both sides Both parties, the major parties, are at loggerheads. I'm not criticizing either side. As a spiritual teacher, I'm not supposed to take any side. Even if I have some preference, it should be personal thing. I don't want to. However, for example's sake, an hour back I saw a 1 minute video clip which in a certain part of Kerala they have brought out. The video clip begins with the beautiful Ram temple in Ayodhya rising against the backdrop of a blue sky. But within a few seconds, they show the Ram temple exploding into pieces. In its place, a Muslim masjid shows. And then it says, vote Congress. So, the other party may show masjid blowing into pieces and temple coming into picture. Either way, look at Ragadvesha. How a certain section hates temples and wants mosques, and how another section hates mosques and wants a temple. We are not talking about who is right, who is wrong, but how our psychology. Some are pro-Hamas and so much against the Jewish people of Israel. Some other pro-Jews and against Hamas. Some are pro-Ukraine and against Putin. And some are pro-Putin and against Ukraine. We need not go to international affairs. Even within a family, within brothers and sisters, within classmates, cousins, and so on, you and I openly or secretly harbor likes and dislikes. And Vedanta says, when you have strong likes and dislikes, know for sure your mind is not ready for Vedanta. You must let go of likes and dislikes. Personal likes and dislikes cannot coexist with right seeing. Objective, personal means personal, subjective. Objectively, if a glass of hot badam milk with almond powder, and a bowl of poison are in front of you, then of course you can't say, I like milk and I don't like poison. Is it wrong? No, that is poison, cyanide or something. And here it is, nutritious hot milk with almond also. That is objective. You buy vegetables, don't say, I have no more likes and dislikes for. I just pick up some vegetables and take home. Some of them may be rotten. Don't you select? These are objective. But when you have subjective, and you know it when it is subjective, or not all have it. It's two who have a certain opinion. I know a father and son duo in Hyderabad. They have not spoken for 3 years. You know why? The father is a strong supporter of BJP and the son is a strong supporter of Congress. Rama Rama. With this BJP Congress conflict, the father and son are not talking. They don't meet eye to eye. Anyway, sansaraha agadveshadi sankulaha swakale satyavad. When you are actually, the first line has swapna tulya, it's like a dream. So, dream is such that we are actually experiencing a dream. Everything in the dream looks as though it is real. Verse number 4 had the word iva. Iva means as though, not really. Verse number 6 has vat, satya vat. Satyavat is nothing else than satyam iva. Vat, iva, both mean very much like. When we are dreaming, something in the dream looks very much like truth. You have been wanting to buy a Mercedes car, and in your dream you bought it and you are driving home in the newly bought Mercedes, and you are so happy. You don't get even an iota of doubt at that time. It's within the dream. Hey, this Mercedes is part of the dream I am experiencing. Though in modern science, modern psychology, they say there is something called lucid dreaming. Let's not get into that. I believe in lucid dreaming, a part of you knows that this is a dream. Modern psychology, neurology, or biology, or science, I know, they have many concepts of what is dream. They don't think of only the three states talked of in Vedanta, waking, dream, and deep sleep. They talk of many things. And they connect something called rapid eye movement, REM, with the states of the brain, and so many parameters they bring into the picture. Then there cannot be conflict in the Vedanta. You will have to sort out if seemingly there is a contradiction between what modern science says and what Vedanta says. Do a little homework, you will be able to put things in the proper places. Vedanta is as relevant as ever. So there is a condition where we are experiencing, like the Mercedes car in which I am coming home, newly bought, and it looks extremely real. As the last quarter of the shloka says, Prabodhe, when we wake up, when the dream ends, we find ourselves sweating profusely in the heat of Mumbai. Much of India is very hot now. I am delivering this lecture from Bangalore, which at one time was called the air-conditioned city of India. But today, Bangalore also hot during some hours of the day at least. So your dream ends. You find sweating on the bed because there is electricity failure, AC, fan, everything stopped. And you say, oh my God, I am sweating. And where is my Mercedes car? Gone. Prabodhe sati asad bhave. What looked extremely real, this Mercedes car of the dream, becomes asat, false, unreal. This waking state also, Vedanta says, becomes unreal when you wake up to self-realization, enlightenment. This is a much debated topic, and people who are not able to appreciate this statement that this waking world also is unreal, is as unreal as dream. Many people not know, centuries ago, 1,000 years ago, Sri Ramanujacharya could not digest it. So he gave a new interpretation to Gita and Upanishads. And that is called the Vishishtadvaita school of Vedanta. That's also Vedanta. Another 200 years later, the 13th century, Srimad Madhvacharya took a bigger hammer and hit upon Advaita. Said, never say this creation is unreal. This creation is very real. Something made by Hari, Mahavishnu, something made by God. God is real and what he has created also is real. Madhvacharya presented such pure devotion to Mahavishnu, Hari. Hari Sarvottama. Hari is real. This world or universe created by Hari is real. And so on. In Advaita, there is nothing against Hari, there is nothing against anybody, but it is a science. This science of Advaita Vedanta requires tremendous patience. Don't take the statement that the universe is unreal on surface value or on a surface and jump to some conclusion. There is a lot of work to be done. What is meant by unreal? However, that being, it will come up later. I will throw more light on it. What is meant by unreal? We will go into it. It's a very involved topic. And when you really get an insight into why great people, people of tremendous reason, Swami Vivekananda was a brilliant boy. He was not some person only driven by faith. Ramakrishna said this universe is unreal. He said, yes, sir, I take it, sir. No. He actually said, question everything. He believed, Vivekananda believed, doubt is the beginning of wisdom. You must doubt everything. But he embraced Advaita. In the West also, many people, great academicians, great thinkers, accepted Advaita, Vedanta. All over the world today, great minds have embraced Vedanta. Many other great minds have embraced the Dvaita Vedanta. So it's nothing to do with whether you are intelligent or unintelligent. I would say it is more to do with certain sanskaras, certain deeply seated tendencies. So we'll examine it. It will come again and again. Shankaracharya says, this universe and your individuality, your being the body is unreal. You are not what you take yourself to be at this time, and this universe is not what you take the universe to be at this time. There is an awakening. In the West, in the last century, Ramdas embraced. Ramdas was a professor in Harvard, professor of psychology, I think. He became Ramdas. Richard Alpert. Professor Richard Alpert was a brilliant professor of Harvard. He started doing some experiments with psychedelic drugs like LSD, and this was in 1960s. And the Harvard University had very rigid policies. They warned him. He and another professor called Tim Leary. Richard Alpert and Tim Leary were conducting experiments with LSD. Harvard said this is not permitted in this campus. You professors get into LSD and all the psychedelic drugs, and then students also will follow suit. This place will go haywire. They were a bit orthodox. I guess now Harvard may not have such, you know, I don't know. But both of them were dismissed from Harvard University. They continued their experiments in a private home. They were giving LSD measured dose to poets and examining whether the poets would write better poetry. Painters wrote better paintings, drew better paintings, and so on. Whether LSD in, in the right measure can enhance our creativity. That was their research. Then somebody said to Richard Alpert, they said, Dick, why are you struggling here? Go to India. There are certain rishis who actually, without all these drugs, go to higher states of consciousness. And he said, so gave me one name. Name of Neem Karoli Baba was given. Professor Richard Alpert, who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, was born rich in Boston to a very, you know, uh, privileged family. Very rich boy, then made it at a very young age to professorship in Harvard, gave up everything, came to Uttarakhand, to a village called Kaichi, and met Neem Karoli Baba. Check Ram, R-A-M, space, Das, D-A-S-S, in Wikipedia. He embraced, and one of his beautiful books, which I read long back in 94 or so, that's how, since then I have been a bit of an admirer. 1994 in Los Angeles, somebody thrust a book into my hands. Swamiji, you should read it. The book was called The Journey of Awakening. Journey not from Boston to India, journey not from Madras to Pondicherry, but the journey of awakening. You wake, you awaken to a different perception, different seeing. Then what happens? Your understanding of the universe, of distant galaxies, believed to be infinite, having countless mysteries about it, so much grandeur, so much enjoyment, and so much suffering. All agony and ecstasy are in this world, in this universe, but all of them will take a back seat. The enlightened one would say this entire universe is no other than Satchit Ananda. Existence, awareness, and bliss. There was this saint called Sadashiva Brahmendra in South India. He was awakened and he wrote poems out of that ecstasy. Sarvam Brahmamayam Re Re Sarvam Brahma. And that Sanskrit poem has very funny lines. What to say, what not to say. What to see, what not to see. What to take, what not to take. That's the lines of it. Kim bhoktavyam, kim abhoktavyam. Kim vaktavyam, kim avaktavyam. Sarvam brahmamayam, re re sarvam brahma. Anyway, let's not go into poetry. As I assured you, we will get back to this real and unreal issue. I'm sorry to say, 99 out of 100 Vedanta teachers also, I'm afraid, don't have clarity about this business of unreal and real. They don't have clarity about in what sense the ego is said to be unreal. What is this ego? What is this I? Do I go from waking to dream to deep sleep? Or am I that awareness in which waking, dream, and deep sleep appear? Or one more step, am I myself appearing as waking, the entire domain of objects and subjects? Am I myself appearing as dream, a different set of objects and a different subject to experience? Am I myself not going anywhere, not coming anywhere? Am I myself that state of no objects, no subject apart from the object, no duality? Do I move in time from waking to dream, time being an unquestionable axis, or does time appear? Is time also part of the illusion? Does illusion happen on axis of time, time being real, or time itself is part of the illusion Vedanta is referring to? Space itself is part of the illusion, and the inquirer, somebody who inquires, is the inquirer himself or herself part of the erroneous seeing? Somebody asked Ramana Maharshi, when you go on asking, who am I, who am I, who am I, is it not the ego that is asking, who am I? He smiled, you got it correct. In who am I, not only all the notions that you have of who you are vanish, but even the idea I am inquiring, I am questioning, I am conducting self inquiry. So that identity that you give to yourself also vanishes. And he gave that beautiful example of the wooden stick with which in our country they stir the burning cremation fire. Somebody's father passed away or mother passed away, 102 years old. They take the body. Some wooden sticks, wooden logs of wood are placed. The body is placed upon it, and some more pieces of wood, some more pieces of wood. And typically, the sun lights up fire, and the whole thing is burning. And the sun, to see that burning happens rather uninterruptedly, takes a wooden stick and does a little bit of stirring or moving, shaking, so that the fire doesn't get put out. And as he is stirring the funeral fire, the wooden stick also gets less shorter and shorter. It's also getting burnt. And at the climax, when the body, the dead body is burning very well, and the wooden stick has become very short, the sun just throws that wooden stick also into the funeral fire, that also gets burnt. So the entity that is inquiring, who am I? Am I this body? Am I this personality? Am I the lady who got badly insulted last week in a meeting? Or am I the lady who received Padma Shri last year from the President of India? What a great moment. Am I good? Am I bad? So this lady is inquiring. The inquiring entity also vanishes in inquiry and pure consciousness. The truth behind the inquirer doesn't vanish. That is Shunyavada of Buddhism. Nothing is real. In the Advaita Vedanta, the truth of your existence beyond name and form, beyond any limitation, is ever present. But today you are in the tight hug of untruth. So Maharshi Ramana said, the one who is inquiring definitely is ego, and that ego also vanishes with the vanishing of million other false notions. Prabodhe sati sansaraha asad bhave. Om Namah Shivaya.